I have been thinking about this for a while. I'm actually am working on a video about like why the fans are not the problem, and you guys will probably see that soon on the YouTube side of things. But I came across this short, and at first I was like, whatever, it's a garbage take by people who don't know comics, and then it just kind of pissed me off even more. It was, man, it was irritating. Okay, so I want to show it to you guys. I commented on it. I even commented on their, what's it called, that I'm gonna like do a stream about it. Not to hate on them. I'm not hating on them. It's just it's such a weak perspective, and it's so basic and stupid that I feel like it needs to be pointed out. But dude, it's just obvious they're not comic fans. It's a small podcast, and again, it's not to hate on them. It's not to. It's just there's fans and then fanboying, right? When you're a fanboy, usually it used to be actually a good term, but when you're like today's day and age, like a fanboy means like they could do no wrong. Just because you like something means it's perfect. That's what fanboying is, unfortunately. Like it's okay to like something, be a fan of it, and still point out its criticisms and issues. That's called authenticity. But regardless, we're gonna go through this. Their podcast is called the Take Two Podcast -05, I guess. And I'm guessing they're a couple. Again, it's not to hate on them, but it's just hear it out, okay? It's quite the perspective.
People don't like his Bruce Wayne because he's not the playboy and he doesn't use it the way that other Batman should. But that's the whole point, because he just started.
It's not the freaking point.
Batman. At the end of the movie, he learns that Batman is supposed to be hope and is supposed to be something else. Like, he learns what it is to be Batman. Like, he shouldn't just be mad the whole time and go after vengeance. And the whole thing about the Bruce Wayne persona is that he uses it for Batman. So in the second movie, now that he knows what Batman is supposed to be, I think he's gonna now more use Bruce Wayne because he knows that it's supposed to be two sides of it. Does that make sense? Like, that's the whole point. He didn't know what Batman was supposed to be, so obviously he wasn't gonna go be a playboy Bruce Wayne. That would have been just so dumb.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree.
The whole
No,
movie
it wouldn't be.
out
You
what,
freaking
what he's
moron.
supposed to be as Batman.
Again, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. I'm really tired of these kind of takes. I commented on, a few people commented on after I did. Let's go through the comments. Here, I'll read them out loud to you. So I said, wrong. People don't like his Bruce because he simply doesn't look the part. Even Playboy Bruce Wayne has an intimidation factor that Robert Pattinson does not. Because Bruce Wayne should still look the part of a regular dude being able to beat you up. Because that's how big he is. That's how commanding his presence is. The next person commented on my comment. I have to agree with this, but yeah. Also, they said the same thing about Keaton. I responded to that comment. I said, yeah, but Keaton looked like a man at least. Pattinson looks like a depressed teenager. I think Pattinson would have done better as one of the Robins. Robert Pattinson's a good actor. He's just not a good Batman or Bruce Wayne. Either one, he's not good. Like, yeah, he was believable for a bit as that Batman, but everything about that Batman sucks, man. And I'm going to go through it. And I'm going to go through the reason I entitled this live stream is because I'm going to point out why we like certain actors for certain role, why we care so much about these films. And I'm a comic fan. It's obviously these guys never read the comics. It's obvious. Somebody said, I wish I was articulate. And then I wrote, this pissed me off so much, I'm going to stream about this. Somebody wrote, that's not the reason people don't commented on on the video. That's not the reason that people don't like his Bruce Wayne. What you just did is called a straw man fallacy. You made up a ridiculous version of your opponent's argument that's easy for you to push over when none is there to represent it truthfully. And he has a point. Dude, he has a point. Like, nobody's there to really like challenge his views. And I think that's a problem with their current podcast, is like nobody's asking any good questions. And I get they're trying to do something new and they're trying to grow. So it's not hate on them, but it's a garbage take. I can also guarantee that his favorite Batman is probably Robert Pattinson. Looking over all the stupidity, because it's really dumb. He's in year 2, and I want to point out something of the Robert Pattinson Batman film. All of it takes place within a week. It may be a little longer, but less than 2 weeks. Like, it's the flooding of Gotham, which is stupid, takes place on November 5th. The beginning of the movie is right before, but could be Halloween, October 31st. It's a week, man. And if it's actually on Halloween, it's less than a week. So he figures out all that stuff, all that detective work, but he can't figure out in 2 years that, hey, we're running out of funds. There is petty crime and there's organized crime. Yeah, and then someone said, nah, the writers just sucked when creating him. Bruce should have knew how to show multiple faces to get what he wanted. Stop making excuses. Agreed. I said 100% correct. I was commenting on his look, but overall you're correct. Also, this is year 2 Batman. Year 2 is when Robin is introduced. Dick Grayson, right? Christian Bale Batman. Alfred suggested the play persona essentially. After his first outing and year 2 Batman is when he adopts Dick Grayson. Pattinson, after a month at most, should have figured out how to navigate not only 2 personas, but be a businessman, because crime is also found through a money trail, and running $1 billion business would help him recognize organized crime. That's not even a stretch. We're going to listen to this bullcrap one more time, and I'm going to break it down bit by bit, because he's obviously a fan. It's fine to be a fan of something garbage, but you got to be honest about it, okay? Robert Pattinson's Batman is trash, just like James Gunn's Superman is trash. And we will talk about it, and I'm not going to stop talking about it because I freaking love Superman. And if you guys want to comment, fine. If you guys want to get in the chat, fine. I will answer it too, but I'm going to point out the issues. I'm going to be honest with it, and you have to use your freaking brain. Okay? Let's restart this thing.
Like his Bruce Wayne, because he's not the playboy and he doesn't use it the way that other Batmans should. But
no, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. Look at him. Look at him in that picture. Like, just having the hair over like a freaking queer fool. Like, that's so dumb. Like, James Gunn, Clark Kent did the same thing. Like, it's not Clark. There's specific look you have to achieve to have a certain presence and a background. He's a billionaire. Like, he's not, his parents' death affected him. Yes. But he still had a life leading up all the way to being Batman. Whether it's being bullied, whether, like, he's going to carry himself a certain way by being around the environment that he was around. Wayne Industries was for him to inherit. So, over time, through the years, he's going to be invited to the Wayne Tower. He's going to be invited to business meetings, even as a kid, because they know that he has to inherit Wayne Industries. It's going to be his business. And other people have jobs. And so the head of the current company, while he's growing up, is going to make sure that he, like, not for Bruce's sake, but for his sake, to keep a job, is going to make sure that he gets the best education possible to grow into this company. And by the time he's an adult, he can either sell Wayne Industries, which he would have a ton of money, or he's going to run it, which in this movie, it's obvious that he's running things and he's draining the well dry. And this is the second year. He's an established Batman. And let's say he's not in the second year and he's an established Batman. Okay, let's say it only took him 3 months to establish it. Either he's the dumbest Batman, dumbest Bruce Wayne to ever exist because he was able to destroy $1 billion company within a matter of months. Or, and it also makes him the biggest douche because the point of fighting crime is to bring Gotham to a better state, is to grow Gotham, is to bring peace and take away the issues that make criminals attack the innocent. It's to take away criminality in its whole. Like, he has a goal. He's not just taking his anger out on bad guys. He's not using them as a punching bag. He's trying to get rid of crime from his city. And so that whatever happened to him doesn't happen to anybody else. That's that. And if it was for revenge, he's going to try to lead up to Joe Chill. Also very investigative. Which, there's details, even in the bat suit. His bat suit, as garbage as it is, the symbol's made out of Joe Chill's gun. That's something from the comics. And I hate the suit, but, it's cool that they kind of, threw that in there. But anyways, he can't be acting this way because he's an adult. He grew up a certain way with certain privileges. He had certain training. When you train, people who train martial arts, there's a certain headspace you get and you become almost more intelligent. Not just, it's because you're problem solving and you're trying to figure out every area to fix. And that's going to translate when you leave the mat, when you leave the gym, when you leave a fight. You're going to realize all the problems you made, the mistakes you made, and how you can fix them to not make the same mistakes. And then it's going to be a habit that when you have a fight IQ, you also get a habit to implement the same fight IQ in the rest of your life. You're going to be alert when there's a mistake. You're going to hate it when there's specific problems that you know how to fix. It's simple. Okay? So, let's go. Let's keep going.
The whole point, because he just started to be Batman. At the end of the movie, he learns that Batman is supposed to be hope and is supposed to be something else.
No, he doesn't. Did you even watch this movie, dude? All he learns is that he made mistakes and he shouldn't make the same mistake. That's not anywhere near in the movie. And first of all, he's not supposed to learn that. He's supposed to establish that. Why am I being Batman? Why am I dressing like a bat? There's multiple elements of it where, bats frighten me. It's a symbol of fear. It's the symbol of darkness. It could be multiple aspects, but there's a specific reason why he's dressing like a bat. And he's not only doing it for himself, he is looking. The reason why we get Batgirl is because a point of his is to inspire the good of Gotham to rise up against the bad, because he knows he can't do it by himself. He knows that. And so he's inspiring all. He's trying to stop corruption. And Batgirl, it's a part of the comic of why he wants to stop her from being Batgirl, but she makes a big point of what's the point of you dressing up this way and I can't? And there's layers, but she pretty much makes the point of I don't see why I can't, because you inspired me to do this. This wasn't random. I didn't choose to be a bat. You chose it. I want to stop this. Yeah, there's things that don't make sense because it's a comic book. You're going to let a teenage girl do some crime fighting? That's insane. Even with Robin was a specific reason he allowed him to be Robin. He actually almost forced Robin to be all colorful. He manipulated him to dress in a colorful way. That's why I've always hated the dark red Robin that we got in the movies and the TV show. Robin is supposed to be a target. He's supposed to be a distraction. It's actually super messed up. But he's confident that he's going to be able to stop anybody from killing Robin, but he also needs to use him as the guinea pig, as the focus that everybody's on, the aggro. And no, he's supposed to know what it is to be Batman already. At least after a year. At the very most after a year. This is year 2, man. Like, come on. He's pretty well established. Commissioner Gordon has probably asked him specifically that question. Alfred himself has probably asked him specifically that question as he was building the suit. That's why one of the reasons why Christian Bale movie is the best written Batman movie. The Batman Begins, particularly. Yes, The Dark Knight made Gotham look like New York or Chicago. It's even though they had a nice base in Batman Begins. The Dark Knight is more of a Joker movie than a Batman movie. It's like a half and half movie. We should have gotten way more Batman in The Dark Knight. We should have gotten the freaking the bat plane, the bat jet, whatever it's called. So I'm freaking flustered. I can't even think of the name. We should have gotten that instead of the plane carrying him over from Hong Kong. There's a lot of mistakes that were made in The Dark Knight, but The Batman Begins, take that in isolation, is a great beginning. Alfred points out you need to be able to hide those bruises. People are going to ask what Bruce Wayne does with his private life. And so he's going to be in the public eye regardless, and he does need to be in the public eye. And Bruce Wayne picks his brain. What would a guy like me do? Like, date supermodels, drive sports cars, buy things that are not for sale. So he realized he needs to be somewhat of a douche. Your classic playboy that people are like, oh, it's a good headline. Like, what's Bruce Wayne doing? But it's like, yeah, he's just a spoiled rich boy. They're like, oh, woe is me. He's not going to be all that. And then they're going to be like, oh, but he runs the company well. So it's like, yeah, he's just kind of a regular dude that is also rich, and he uses that. So then he's not that much in front of the cameras and the limelight, only when he wants to be, essentially, and needs to be. You know, he's usually not involved in scandals. Like, he's just a billionaire. And that's like the first day. The first day of him being Batman. Like, come on, bro. You're going to tell me 2 years after being Batman, he couldn't figure out what was the point of Batman? Like, the amount of cope is insane.
Learns what it is to be Batman. Like, he shouldn't just be mad the whole time and go after vengeance. And the whole thing about the...
Actually, he is supposed to be. Batman is pissed the whole time. The thing is, Bruce Wayne is the mask. He is Batman. Bruce Wayne died the day his parents died, and Batman was born. It's the same with Superman. There's like Superman is the mask. Who he is Clark Kent. And it's one of the reasons why these opposites work so well in comics becoming friends, even the animated series. Like, it's what brings the Justice League together is like having these two opposites and playing off each other. It's actually what makes it work. Not only having the team, but those two characters specifically. And yeah, he's supposed to be pissed off all the time, but he's supposed to be able to hide it.
Wayne persona is that he uses it for Batman. So in the second movie, now that he knows what Batman is supposed to be, I think he's gonna now more use Bruce Wayne because he knows that it's supposed to be two sides of it. Does that make sense? Like, that's the whole point. He didn't know what Batman was supposed to be, so obviously he wasn't gonna go be a
How does he not
Bruce
know?
Wayne. That would have been just so dumb.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree.
The whole movie is about him figuring out what he's supposed to be as Batman.
No, the whole movie is just garbage, man. It's just garbage. There's great elements in it. The music is phenomenal. There are great scenes. There's really good dialogue, and there's really stupid dialogue. Like, come on. Like, you can be honest even if you like something. I love Batman Begins, but I have my criticisms with it. And there's objectively a layout of what was some of the best Batman movies and what was the worst ones. Like, for instance, the suit. I would say out of all the Batman suits, this one is the least Batman. Because he uses it like an Iron Man suit, even though his face has the most exposure. The ears look stupid. The face looks dumb. He has the collar on the cowl, which has always been dumb. He doesn't even have like real spikes. It's just straps. His suit is like the closer it is to the Arkham Knight suit, but even the Arkham Knight suit had more of a look of Batman. Everything that Robert Pattinson's suit has is objectively worse. The most accurate was Ben Affleck's, and it's my least favorite. I don't like the big symbol. I don't like small ears. I like tall, pointy ears. Even Christian Bale's ears, they were a little too thick. They were just the right height, but I didn't like the curvature. I thought they could have been a little more up. Michael Keaton's, the ears are almost perfect. But because it's all black, it's not the most accurate. He has the most accurate symbol. You know, like, we still haven't had the best and most accurate suit. The best suit would be gray and trunks. It needs to have trunks. And you can argue black cowl or blue cowl. I would prefer the blue cowl with the yellow symbol, but make the yellow symbol bigger, slightly bigger than it is in the comics. And obviously blue trunks, blue gloves, and blue boots. Like, for instance, Christian Bale, Batman, they made it functional, the blades on his forearms. And I thought that was a great idea, where it could block swords. It can possibly stop bullets in a way. But yeah, and then this one, it shows that he's dumb. He lets a bomb blow up in his face. As soon as he finds out Alfred may or may have not lied, he does the least investigative work possible on the person he trusts the most. Which, it's not to say that he should have known before. It's to say that, like, damn, you give villains the benefit of the doubt more often than you give the guy who raised you? Really? You're a douche. You're, like, there's a common theme among DC where, like, the parents are starting to be disrespected. In James Gunn's Superman, Clark was disrespecting his parents without a shadow of a doubt. And it is obvious. It's objective. It's not up to interpretation. There was a level of disrespect. There was a level of favoritism over a clip of his dead parents over his adoptive ones who raised him since he was a baby. Like, that he also needed to have translated. Like, and that's the most he ever got. But in Robert Pattinson's situation, he gives everybody else the benefit of the doubt. And there's problems without the movie. The third act was a dumpster fire. They changed the character of the Riddler 2/3 of the way through the movie. They made Catwoman almost insufferable by the end. She was fine in the beginning. And then we're supposed to have fear to Batman, but then the cops don't fear him. And, like, they're all okay with him committing crimes. Like, and nobody's arresting him. The movie is not a good Batman film. Maybe you could probably give it a 6 out of 10 in terms of overall as a regular film. But in terms of a Batman film, it's more like a 1 out of 10. There's a problem with it. Like, and every Batman film we've had issues. The one that we've had the least issues, Batman Begins. You know, Michael Keaton's Batman killed people, had guns. Like, it was pretty damn obvious. Now, I would never trade any of it for anything. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer's still the best Catwoman ever. The Penguin, Danny DeVito, phenomenal. You know, and then later on we get Jim Carrey Joker, the Two-Face that we got, and then Mr. Freeze, and then Poison Ivy was alright. You know, but yeah, like, the most Batman-like film, the most Bruce Wayne-like film we got was Batman v Superman. The most Batman-like film we got was Batman Begins. And the Christian Bale Batman Begins, not the Michael Keaton Batman Begins. At least the beginning. Like, Michael Keaton's Batman was already established. Like, we were going to a world where, like, people knew what Batman was in a way, and he was already doing his Batman thing. And even then, like, he was obviously less of an idiot than Robert Pattinson's Batman. Robert Pattinson's Batman, they dropped the ball hard. Hard, man. And again, because of these garbage takes, it's all cope. I guarantee you, this Batman is his favorite one. Guarantee you. I'll put money on it. Because he seems like a young guy. It's obvious that he's probably never picked up a comic in his life and actually had the physical copy in hand. And read through an entire long box and issue. So yeah, stuff like this, it pisses me off. It's but that's on me. Like, that's obviously a normie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hating on the guy. He could have his takes, you know, but they were so basic and so, like, take away comics in total and just look at it as an objective film. There was no honesty there. It was just like, hey, look, this is what the film is trying to do. If everything he said there, and he just put the caveat, this is what the film tried to do, but it doesn't make sense because he's already been Batman for 2 years. Like, dude, we problem solve things in a day. We get an epitome in a matter of seconds. Like, it takes one event. So you're telling me if you do something for 2 years, with, like, just doing it because of relieving an anger that you've had for, like, almost 20 years, you've never thought about it once? Like, what's the purpose of everything? Like, why did I keep going? Like, he has a conviction so much that he's ruled suicide off the table. He's ruled that off, that, like, the world doesn't need him. He is convinced the world needs him for a purpose, and specifically Gotham needs him. So yeah, he would know what it means to be Batman. Like, come on. Like, the reason why his fans hate the stuff that release is because they claim to adapt a comic. They claim, whether it's an actor, a director, studio, they claim to understand it, and they have every bullet in the chamber. They have all the resources in the world. They literally have every resource, all the comics at their disposal, and they own them, and they refuse to read them and adapt them and even listen to the fans. They think they know better than what the fans know. They think they know better than the creators. They think they know better than what's proven of the best issue financially and popular, and what's most popular. And it pisses us off because it's like, yo, we've been telling you, put the trunks on Superman, put the trunks on Batman. We've been telling you, stop making them your own version. Like, we've been telling you which comic you should adapt. We've been telling you why we love the animated series and what they did better in the animated series than the comics. None of this is rocket science, man. You want money? We'll give it to you as long as you treat it right. It's so simple. Like, we're not trying to be dicks here, but we've spent the money to make this so popular that now you, as a director, as a studio, want to use it to make even more money. If it wasn't popular and there was no message you could put behind it, you wouldn't do it. The reason Marvel started adapting garbage characters is because they felt it was more important to put a message out there than a story. So then they're using low garbage characters to put out garbage messages because they think they're going to be popular just because the name Marvel's attached to it. Like, brother, come on, man. Like, I want people to think about the MCU. And the MCU grew to be a Goliath with C-list and B-list characters. They didn't use Spider-Man. They didn't use X-Men. They didn't use Fantastic Four. They didn't use even things that became A-list from the movies, like Blade. They didn't even repurpose the movies that came before. And we gave our money to building cosplay, to movies, to more comics, to action figures. Everything under the sun came from fans that loved it before, and some things you guys did better than the comics because you guys had comic fans writing these movies. And then we had our criticism, even on the things we loved. I didn't like the freaking Black Widow and Hulk storyline, like love romance. I didn't care for it. It worked in a way, but I thought it was unnecessary. I like Age of Ultron. I think they fumbled on how to utilize Ultron. I think Ultron is a bigger character than Thanos, and he should have been utilized, I would say, during the 5-year blip, more so than what we saw just him eradicating. He was in the internet, dude, and you think you just erased him? Like, come on. There's a lot of stupidity, obviously. Captain Marvel sucked. The first Ant-Man movie was alright. The first Spider-Man movie was a good movie and a bad Spider-Man. He got bailed out every second, learned practically nothing, was practically nothing, has no relation to any of the Spider-Man comics. So it's like, that's MCU Spider-Man. But we just love seeing Spider-Man, so like there's some forgiveness there. Like, it was the biggest trailer. The Civil War trailer was the biggest trailer ever. It had the biggest hype. Civil War it was one of the biggest movies, and I'd say one of the best movies the MCU has made. If not the best. I think the first Avengers movie is probably the best one. And they used it on all characters that people didn't really read. Like, think about Iron Man. How popular Iron Man is now. He was C-list. Nobody really cared about Iron Man. Nobody, dude. Like, hardcore fans knew Iron Man. You know, you're not casual, but just slightly above casual Marvel fans would read an issue or two. And then, like, people that walked in, they just see it. And they probably saw the cover or an action figure. They're like, cool. What's that? That's Iron Man. Okay, cool. Do you got any Spider-Man? Do you got any Fantastic Four? Do you got issue number 3? Like, it wasn't something that really grasped the eye. It wasn't really something that people gravitated to. Like, man. So, okay. That's kind of like the basis of why we hate things that we love, why we will criticize, because we gotta gatekeep. You guys aren't doing it right. Like James Gunn said that he's adapting All-Star Superman. Where in that freaking movie was there an All-Star adaptation? Like, down to the suit. The suit looked like he had a motorcycle suit. It was padded to the gills. Couldn't even see one single muscle definition. I felt like I could beat the dude up. The lines that they wrote him were bad. They used the symbol of Kingdom Come Superman and then adapted to the yellow and red. You know, they did the colors right, but then they gave him the New 52 collar, and they didn't even give him like the Speedo trunks. They gave him the boxer trunks. Like, these are not nitpicks. And like, they had put weird designs on them. And like, one thing Zack Snyder did right, he made the Kryptonian suits look, and made Superman's suit look like it came from Krypton. That version of Krypton. Superman was doing Superman things throughout the entire film. It's a bad film, but we still saw him be Superman. David Corn said not so much. He cried about his feelings, had interviews that they probably should have had, you know, the first time of his outing. And both movies, like, it's been established that Matt Reeves' Batman and David Cornsweet's Superman, or James Gunn's Superman, both established that people have known them for like 3 years or 2 years, a few years, and they're both dumb. They both start off stupid. So yeah, like you guys probably saw my. If for those of you who tune into the live streams from like a year ago or a year or two ago, you knew, that I was like, okay, I don't like the suit. I think it's a problem. I'm happy that they put the yellow S on the back of the cape. It's actually one of the reasons why I bought this Superman statue right here, because this looks the most accurate. Let me look at that. And has the yellow Superman S on the back of the cape. I love that. I love that detail. Now, even a lot of my comic book loving friends, they like Crypto and anything. I've never felt that it was very much Superman. I never cared for Crypto, personally. Not saying that they were bad comics. Like, I understand, like, the feel-good stuff. Why do I even have these headphones on anymore? I understand that crap, but I never... It's a freaking dog, and I don't give a damn. Like, I want to see Superman. If I want to watch Crypto, I will read something alone, just Crypto. Ugh. Like, if there was a series and there was a Crypto episode, I'd be fine with it. I'd be like, okay. Get a break from the plot, but we get to see Crypto do funny doggo stuff. And it would be a nice little kid-friendly episode. And so, like, and it comes down to not just getting Gotham right. Like, here's something that I think every Batman film has accomplished. They've always had a great Batman score. That's something it's true. I think every version of Batman, as far as I can remember, every version of Batman had a great soundtrack, great score towards the property, including Robert Pattinson's Batman. Probably one of the best, actually. It's intimidating. It is like really grabs you. It freaking makes you excited. But then they try to make it I feel like they made it more realistic than Christopher Nolan. And Christopher Nolan did his damnedest to try to explain things. And yeah, I believe the best Batman we have gotten is the first movie with Christian Bale. That's probably the best Batman we've gotten. Best Bruce Wayne was Ben Affleck. I think that's pretty solid opinion to have, because every time we saw him as Bruce Wayne, he was calculating, he was angry, he showed his side, he showed the difference what it is to be Bruce Wayne in front of Alfred, Batman, and in front of Lex, and in front of Clark. Ben Affleck was a perfect choice. Unfortunately, garbage script. Robert Pattinson, I would say maybe the dialogue isn't bad, but the script overall and how things become what they are, and his personality and his thoughts and thinking, it's really, really stupid. Like, when you write a character, you have to, especially an adult character, a character that is past the age of 21, past the age of 15 at least, or let's say 18, and is doing something crazy like being a vigilante. There's a backstory already established, whether you want to believe it or not. You can't just like, oh, he's 25 and I'm gonna write him this way. It's like, no. You kept the fact that he's a billionaire. You kept the fact that his parents got killed in an alleyway. You kept all this stuff. So therefore, there's a leading progression towards him being Batman that makes sense, that you cannot just add whatever you want in there. Like, those foundations are going to lead to the current Batman that we're going to see. The angry, vengeful, fighting crime. Like, if you're going to... There's a story in between here. If he starts off here and the result is him being this way, it doesn't matter what way you choose, that there's objective routes that needs to take. If he's going to be a bumbly, he's not going to be Batman. And same thing happened to this character named Bruce Wayne. The death of Thomas and Martha Wayne, all that stuff. He's a billionaire, but he's a nice guy and then never became Batman. Certain things need to happen in order to get there. Maybe Alfred, took him to theme parks every day. That's going to affect how he is an adult. Maybe somebody erased his mind and erased the trauma that happened. So he stays a happy kid, even though there was the death of his parents. Maybe he doesn't remember. Maybe he had the trauma of blocking those thoughts out and went to an insane asylum for a few years. If those things happen, certain routes it's going to lead to a certain route. But you can't just say, oh, he's Batman and his life was sunshine and rainbows, but he chose to be Batman and angry. Doesn't make sense. It makes zero sense. So if you decide to have this backstory and this result, the middle, you have to work within that world and realize that, oh, this wouldn't be happening because he probably would have already gone through that at the age of 16. If he's trained his whole life to become Batman, then at probably age 20, this would have happened. By the time he decided to don a cowl, he probably realized that he can't just use his face. He has to hide it. The whole reason of hiding his face is because he's too recognizable as Bruce Wayne. And that people take advantage of him. People wouldn't take him seriously. Even if they don't recognize he's Bruce Wayne, there's no intimidation factor. He has to be something more than a man. And that line is done beautifully in Christian Bale when he's letting Alfred know on the plane. He's like, no, as a man, I could be bought, I could be corrupted, I could be destroyed, but as a symbol, I could be something more, something to strive for. It's one of the reasons why DC Comics has big old symbols, because it represents something. Like, as much as I love Marvel, most of their symbols is just to let you know who they are. DD, Daredevil, Spider-Man symbol. It's because he's a human spider. But that symbol in Marvel doesn't represent something. The Iron Man light, it's just his reactor for his heart to stop the shrapnel from entering his heart. Black Panther doesn't have one. Captain America is the only one in every Marvel character that represents something. America. The American way. Superman, the symbol for hope. The S of Krypton. The truth, justice, and the American way is what he stands for. But the S stands for hope. Batman, his symbol stands for justice. His symbol stands for courage, not hope. That the regular person can do something about their crappy situation. The truth that the good can stand up against the bad. Like, just even the W for Wonder Woman represents wonder. Like, the Lantern Corps, the power of will, the principle that whatever you put your mind to it, you can will it into existence, and that nothing can stop you if you have conviction and if you remove fear. And I would say the most two important symbols are Superman and Batman's. So, with that being said, the reason we hate the actors saying that they're prepping for stuff, like, one of the reasons I put Robert Downey Jr. as Doom on the thumbnail is simply because there was a tweet, or not a tweet, an Instagram post he posted the other day about, he's like, I am prepping for Doom or whatever, and it shows him reading a comic. Well, anybody who freaking knows that comic knows that Doom is just on the cover, and he's not anywhere near that story. Like, dude, it pisses the fans off, because it's like, oh, you're not being honest. Like, Disney isn't being... Why they hire Robert Downey Jr. as Doom? You really think he was the best man for the job? No. They realized they're in a losing battle. They're losing a ton of freaking money doing phase 5, 6. And ever since Infinity War, after Infinity War, everything is losing money. And Spider-Man stuff, they have to give part of that money to Sony. And even No Way Home was a Sony thing. The only thing that I think truly made money was the second Spider-Man film after Endgame. And Endgame sucked. It doesn't matter that it made $2 billion. There's butts and seats in the stand of time. How much, like, how memorable is it? How iconic is it? Will it stand the test of time? And it hasn't. It's a garbage movie. Nobody talks about it. Most people just watched it one time. And that's it. So ever since then, it's pretty much trash after trash after trash. And they brought Robert Downey Jr. in because they need names. Like, look at the Deadpool Wolverine movie. The only reason it made money is because of Hugh Jackman partnering up with Ryan Reynolds. But it was also a garbage film, objectively. The story was insane. It was dumb. Nothing made sense. It's just the truth, man. I enjoyed it when I watched it. I also hated it at the same time. Like, it's a simple thing. It's nothing freaking crazy, dude. Like, it is simple. Be objective and be honest. There's comic runs I like that are dumb, that are completely retarded. But it's just the truth. Like, I like it. I like crappy things. I like the movie The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It is one of the dumbest movies you'll ever watch. But I freaking love it. One of my favorite monster movies is Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. But there's massive issues. But it's a fun time, dude. I would say if you don't have... It's one of those movies that you will enjoy it even if it has massive problems. Because of how whimsical it is and how magical, and people are like, it was obvious they cared, and maybe who knows why they didn't think some things through, but it is a phenomenal film. I love it. Like, there was a whole zombie scene and they did nothing with it. Like, they're trying to kill the girl, but all they're doing is playing with her up in the air, like literally just flying up once and dropping her. She's dead. Like, picking up a cow and putting the cow through a ceiling. That's weird and insane. So there's a lot of things that you can like, but you just got to be real. You just got to be honest. Like, for instance, we all know, and hype is a great indicator of if we are going to care about it. Okay, or if not care about it, if it's gonna be good, and if you have the trust of the fans. We know that Robert Downey Jr. probably in Secret Wars is going to come back as Iron Man. Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. It's already confirmed. Where's the hype, man? When Endgame was coming out, dude, every video on YouTube was about Endgame. It was a freaking event. And people, as crappy as the product was after we got it, people didn't want to hear spoilers. Nobody. Like, your video wouldn't do well on YouTube if you were a YouTuber and you posted, like, here are the spoilers for Endgame. Because people are like, I don't want to be spoiled. I actually do want to watch this film. Some people avoided trailers altogether. They watched the first trailer and that's it. They're not watching anymore. Like, I knew some of those people. I'm not saying that's overall the experience, but even on the internet, from what I saw, that people didn't really want to know. They wanted to have the experience for themselves. That's how you know you have a great product. And like Crypto and Superman, they pissed on its face. But like now, there is no hype because there's no trust. If they did a whole phase, let's say five films, at the very least, if all of them were bangers, dude, respecting what came before, solid storytelling, doesn't even have to be 10 out of 10, a nice solid 7 out of 10. I bet, and all that's all it would probably take. Maybe an apology for like all the ideology bull crap that we kept seeing, and then we would be hyping Secret Wars up, hyping Doomsday up. But what do we do? But right now we're just like, well, we're expecting trash because that's what they've promised again and again and again. And I think a lot of filmmakers, going off the Batman, Matt Reeves Batman thing, there's a difference of what they portrayed and what they intended. Like, my intention with the scene is for the audience to feel this way, but what you portrayed might be different, which is the problem. If your intention is this and you're not getting it, then it's time to get some help in how to make sure that your intent is not misconstrued and you actually deliver your intention. How many people get screwed over because they said something and it sounded that they had bad intentions when their intention was to do good? It sounded off, so then it came off wrong. But it was not their intention. The path to hell is paved with good intentions. Because even though you had the intention to do good, you did bad. Ta-da! Freaking A, man. Like, it's just so simple. Stop doing this. Be humble. Realize when you're wrong. Realize that you might not know how to portray certain emotions, how to do certain things, how to protect certain properties, whatever it is, and then bring on people that you have confidence will do it. And then test. Also, high recommendation. Listen to fans. It's crazy if somebody spent most of their life reading a particular freaking comic or property, they might have a thing or two to say about what should happen. And with the internet, everybody's talking. And you could reach out to them. Dude, most people's emails are in their bio. On Twitter, you could just message people directly. What the hell are we doing here? Stop thinking this is how stupid these companies are. Warner Brothers did nothing for 20th anniversary of Lord of the Rings. They fire Zack Snyder after he has a kid that committed self-harm and passed from the injuries. Then they put out Slop, and then they fire Henry Cavill as Superman after he came back as an appearance and on his birthday. Then they announced James Gunn. James Gunn does a crappy TV show after that movie, and then he puts out Truth, Justice, the American Way, and then completely pivots. And so they don't teach him how to do PR on press work. And then on the Disney side of things, like, the creator of Star Wars is still alive, and they don't ask him any advice on what to do with 7, 8, and 9. And he has written a whole universe of over 50,000 years of lore, and you just can that to do women empowerment bullcrap. This is how stupid these companies are, or how narcissistic they are. And like, they love the smell of their own farts, man. They believe like, oh, you're the creator and you thought of something revolutionary. I'm better than you, so I'm gonna take this revolutionary thing and I'm gonna make it. What you can't do with it is elevate it to millionth degree, even though it's already at the 10th million degree. Like, they are so eloquently. I can only put it this eloquently. Okay. They're retarded. That's what they are, man. There's no, and again, that's a compliment. If I call them stupid, that's worse. They're slow of mind. That's what retarded means. Actually, they might be just completely stupid. Like, no brain function. Just dumb, savant of retardation. Like, oh gosh, dude. It's like, dude, it took what, 20 years for Fox/Disney to do the Wolverine suit, the yellow suit. And again, halfway through they kind of crapped on it. Well, like early on, like if you take off the sleeves, great, but keep the shoulder pads on, man. Like the movie could have been better just by having the shoulder pads on instead of sleeveless Logan. Dudes, like we have to take care of the things we love. We have to gatekeep. The fans have never been the issue. Yeah, we can get very passionate, overzealous, argue extensively, but it all comes from a place of love, man. We don't want it changed for what we believe it should look like or happen. No, we just want to stay true to its character, to its foundation. You could be creative as long as the foundation remains the same. You can't just make a completely different story and then say, this is Batman. This is Spider-Man. Like, think about it this way. If you change the name Peter Parker for the MCU and just take the Civil War to Homecoming, and I would say even to Infinity War, change the powers around, keep that same story, backstory the same, and change the costume and character. Maybe Iron Boy. Probably, like, you would never think about, like, oh, they used the story of Spider-Man to get this character. That's how they came up with this character. This was just a copy of Spider-Man. No, you'd be like, oh, this is an interesting new character. We got Iron Boy. You know, like Tony Stark gave him an Iron Man suit that is not as functional as the regular suit, but he might had some intelligence, and that's why Tony Stark went after him. And this is a creative dude who, oh man, he's actually has some super strength. So interesting. And he's able to get this suit, like because he has durability, and you know he's in high school. Like the story wouldn't change at all. Like he's just another character because he's not Spider-Man. There's a foundation of Spider-Man, of why Aunt May is like much older than a mother figure. That she's like a dying grandma age. You know? Why he is the nerd that he is. What type of bullies are around him. Like they couldn't even get the bullies right. Like, oh, this is the new type of bully that kids are used to. I'm like, fool. Like one argument I've always hated on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man is like, oh, why do all the teenagers look 30? Like, dude, when I was going to high school, everybody looked 40. There was Polynesian, there was like all sorts of dudes that freaking were 6'3". There's some people that were 6'5" in junior high, and they were beefed out of their mind. My brother could go full-grown beard at 11. That at a Boy Scout camp out, they thought he was the Scoutmaster. Like, people looked tougher. They didn't look like twinks. And that's what we got. Freaking twinks, man. Good freaking Lord. Like, I haven't looked at their channel and what and if they just talk about superhero stuff. But it was evident that, you know, they don't read comics. They don't understand backstory. They probably watched films, probably watched it once, made an opinion, and didn't look to see like why is Batman so popular? What's going on here? You know, like, brother. And this isn't just about the superhero movies. This is about everything. Like, why do they keep effing with our stuff? Like, yeah, it's for money. I get that. But they're not even doing it right, you know? Like, they don't even care. Oh, hold on. I have to be right back. I'll be right back. My bad. The sound was off. My bad. My bad. It isn't just about hating on stuff. It's preserving the things we love. Okay? And it's about not lowering your standards, man. Like, stop lowering your standards. Why do you think we're playing older video games than the new ones? Why do you think we're watching older movies than the new ones? Because it's better. Like, sometimes we have to, accept certain things, but we never lower our standards to accept. It's like, okay, this is creative. Yeah, there's good elements about this. They can make it better, but that's that. Like, I wanna go over something with you guys. I wanna show you guys something and explain something to you. Let's go over this thing. This trailer. This full-blown abomination. This is what I'm talking about. This is why we have to gatekeep. Okay? This is why.
I want it back. The way it was before the Empire shut it down. Massive.
I want you also to pay attention to the music. Okay?
Lightning fast. Lives on the line. The pilots were incredible. Best of the best. United by one beautiful.
Does this sound anything like Star Wars to you? At all, the music. Also, they're using, even if it's not Jakku, similarities so that we are reminded of the Disney trilogy more so than original or prequel, which this would be perfect to emulate the prequels. Like, okay, hold on, let me see if I could pause it right there on that helmet. Also, none of them seem like pod racers. I don't know what kind of racing this is. Like, they determined that pod racing is quite the popular thing throughout the galaxy. Like, it's like the Formula One. And it's dangerous. Like, does that look like Star Wars? To me, it looks something in the mix of Doom and Halo. More so Halo. Look anything like Star Wars to you?
Galaxy needs racing.
Look at that helmet. Like, dude, the helmets were basic, dude. Goggles. What the frick are we doing here? And it's speeders. They're speeders. Like, they're not pod racers. Who races speeders, man? Look at that. Like, the music has nothing to do with Star Wars. Like, the iconic music of John Williams, where it doesn't matter where you go, you listen, you hear that come on. Oh, Star Wars. It doesn't even matter if you haven't watched the films. You know what that freaking thing is. And you think you could do better? You think the fans of Star Wars is going to be like, hell yeah. Something like, even the Mandalorian music kind of, had its fall because it isn't exactly Star Wars music. Like, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about that we need to gatekeep. We need to freaking fix. We need to set a standard so they stop doing this BS, because it's there's an element where it's our fault. There is. It's true. Like, part of why we get crappy films is our fault, because we didn't do our part early on to stand up for what is right, for what, like, yes, we're doing our part now and we're fighting. That's great. But there's a part of responsibility. It's not like 10% responsibility or 50-50. It's like, okay, we had a percentage where we kind of like sat back and let things happen a little too much because we had faith in it, and that's where our fall is. It's the hope, it's the trust. It isn't that we like just let all this bullcrap happen. This bullcrap is happening just because we just rested a little bit, which we deserve to. Gosh, dude. Okay. It reminds me more of the Solo movie more than anything, but it just looks like a Mad Max sci-fi. Like, what says Star Wars about this freaking slop, dude? What are we doing? What the freak are we doing here, man? Like, oh, we get maybe Sebulba. Who knows? Or is this just another Doug? Because obviously his beard is different. Like, he has a beard. But it's white. So are they just using Sebulba again? And, like, to me, I think it is Sebulba because of the freaking pod racer that's behind him. It's the only time we see a freak. And it's just an engine. Doesn't even have the orange, so I'm guessing it's going to be an older Sebulba, and it's going to take place probably during the original trilogy. Even though they say, like, I want things before the Empire, how things were. Okay, maybe this takes place in the Mandalorian era, but still freaking gay, dude. This has nothing to do with Star Wars. Some bull crap. Some bull, man. Like, the music, everything's completely off. It doesn't even look that good. Like, man, like, this is why. Like, this is the thing that pissed me off most about the freaking Game Awards or whatever. Is that we got this garbage presented to us. Like, please, for the love of everything that's holy, don't freaking play this game because it's obvious trash. It's obvious trash. This is why we need to freaking talk more about, like, we need to try to save certain things, but we also need to talk more about why something is crap and why a trailer is so important. The music is supposed to entice us to that specific property. But this has no respect to John Williams, to George Lucas, to original Lucasfilm, to original Star Wars. This is garbage. It's just a waste of time. Good Lord, this game is going to suck. Effing you in 2026. It's going to suck. I'm getting hella pissed off. I don't know. Look. Obviously very passionate about the things I love. I will make no excuses for that because I don't care about the gay crap. I am sick of listening to people say they know comics, and I'll be the first to put out. I haven't read every freaking comic. You know, like, for instance, like Moon Knight comics. I didn't really read up on that stuff, but I know that those weren't the first issues where he had a bunch of freaking personalities. Like, I saw, like, I read one issue and then I saw that he had a Tommy gun, and during that show they made him a cuck and no Tommy gun. Where the freak, like, this is supposed to, and I knew, for even though I love Batman's my favorite DC character. Maybe Superman might be more of my favorite. I think at this point in my life, I like Superman more than Batman in a way. But I know that Moon Knight was supposed to be somewhat of Marvel's Bruce Wayne. Gosh, that show sucked, man. Good freaking Lord. Is that the kind of stuff like, do you guys really want this to keep going on? Really? Like, man. Like, it really is kind of going to be up to us, essentially. Like, when I say save a property, there's an element that you can do it. Like sometimes garbage does inspire somebody out there to be a great entrepreneur and then want to buy this stuff. Remove it, take it out of the hands of Disney, take it out of the hands of Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount, like going back to private. Like, who knows? Maybe we'll get an Elon Musk, George Lucas mix in the future where they saved this stuff and took it back not only to basics but to like the core of it. And that's why I say, like, fans, like fan films could be like, there's a question on what can be canon and what can't be. And I think in this day and age, we're getting more to the point where the fans are going to choose canon overall. Because what's the biggest platform now? It isn't movies. I would say it's not even video games. It's YouTube. It's the voice of the people is the true platform now. If we tell you, the normie that comes in to watch Star Wars, this is canon, this is trash, don't even worry about it. Go through this stuff. Go through the EU. And then, like, I think Star Wars Theory is a great example. He put his money where his mouth is, and I would consider that more canon, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the way the Vader fan film, the direction it goes. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I would consider that more canon than Disney. Anything Disney touches. Like, it's gonna be up to us to truly, like, make them realize. Like, imagine this. I want you guys to imagine this. What if you decided to make a whole, let's say there's like some ultra millionaire on YouTube that decided to make their own Superman series, non-profit series, fan film, fam TV show on their YouTube channel, and it did more than anything that James Gunn puts out, Warner Brothers, Netflix. Because if it's good, and if it's made out of love and respect, it doesn't matter. The studios can't do anything. They can't touch it. Because it doesn't matter the number they hit. It doesn't matter if they make millions and this YouTuber makes nothing. The eyes, the people who see it versus the people who don't. That's what's important. If nobody's watching over there, even though they made money, and that's only a few million people, and they got like hundreds of millions of people, that's gonna be, you're gonna be able to calculate it. Like think about it this way. The reason why we talk about inflation so much is because we always look at the wrong numbers. We have to look at, if a movie is successful, it's how many people like watch the movie. Like, I'm going to show you something. No, I'm going to explain something to you. Okay, so Gone, I think it's Gone with the Wind, right? When box office results. Box office is adjusted for inflation. It would be $3.5 billion today. Gone with the Wind. So, obviously, bigger than Endgame. But let's say Endgame. Let's say 2 billion, right? Let's go with the number 2 billion. So if each ticket was $20, so it almost made 5 billion. So if each ticket is $20, that means only 100 million people saw it while it was in theaters. And Gone with the Wind was 4.5 billion. And let's say the ticket's still only $20. That is more than double. 225 million people watched Gone with the Wind. More than double watched that movie than Endgame. So, that's where the true success is. That is where you have something that stands the test of time, that can truly show what we care about, is how many people saw it. There's YouTube videos of that has more than 225 million views. There's like mainly music. There's songs that have 1 billion views, like Careless Whisper, I think, or Last Christmas has 1 billion views. Something like that. Hey, let me look it up on the YouTube side of things. On YouTube alone, and that's not counting the people that listened to it before. So Last Christmas, wham. Let's see. Don't want to get any copyright bullcrap. 1,064,000,000 views. So there's 1 billion people more that either watched that film. And I would say this, Endgame, that number 100 million people watching it, that's not individuals. That is not individuals. Okay? Though that's how many tickets were sold. There's going to be people that watched it multiple times. Okay? Gone with the Wind, most likely Max watched it twice when it released. Maybe they watched it and then they took a date. But it was such a big phenomenon that people talked about it and then influenced others to go watch it. So you also have more individuals watching. Probably almost triple than Endgame. More individuals watched Gone with the Wind on the time it was in theaters than people did on Endgame. And remember, Endgame had to entice by adding some bullcrap deleted scene that even wasn't full at the end of the credits about Hulk. Let's not forget that. They did everything. They kept it in theaters longer than any of their movies so that they could hit that number. And again, they wouldn't need to if the movie was better than what it was. Dude, I remember, okay, for instance, Michael Bay's Transformers. It had a certain element of creativity, but obviously had bad editing and some bad writing in it. But it was so incredible, and you could tell that it was made with care, that I knew people that watched it 4 or 5 times in theaters. Every time they went to the movies. And this was at a time where culturally everybody went to the movies and it was the thing to do. All the time people wanted to go to the movies. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome. But not anymore. Nobody freaking wants to go to the movies. Nobody wants to get disappointed. And I think it's one of the reasons why we watch so many old shows is because we know we're not going to get disappointed. And there's a psychological issue with it too, where it's maybe we're sick of getting disappointed, so we're going to go back and watch something where it's been proven. But people like me, I'll go watch shows I never watched before, but I know since it's old that I'm not going to get all of a sudden 2 dudes making out when the story was going good. Dude, I'm going to kill my friend Devin who recommended me to watch Black Sails. I'm going to kill that mother effer. Because almost halfway through season 2, they just make the main character just a flaming fruitcake, dude. Just all of a sudden, his whole purpose for doing everything, the rebellion, is just so that he can get dick and butt, dog. What the hell? Gosh, I hate him for that. Freaking pisses me off. And it was such a good show. There was problems. It's not perfect. It's not Game of Thrones. But it had all the potential to be a pirate Game of Thrones. It was going well, in a way. And then, dude, just full blown, like, booty games, dude. Like, pirates really went after the booty. Freaking big man, hairy booty. F my life. Yeah. I even sent him a meme of when you're getting into a show and then all of a sudden two dudes start making out and it's just Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean like freaking out because his heart was stolen, just like basking in the rain. It was funny. But man, and he's the one that forced me to watch James Gunn's Superman. I kept hearing the rumors of how garbage it was amongst true comic fans, and dude, when I watched it, I was like, I'm already 3 minutes in the movie, and I'm 3 minutes in from 5 minutes being out of this movie. Like, I wanted to quit, but I started getting more serious on YouTube again, and I'm like, I guess I have to talk about this super douche that James Gunn wrote. And again, I think David Cornsett doesn't have the right look, but he had a look enough. Like, what actually gave me hope was the actor that played Superman in the CW TV show, the Superman and Lois. Because, like, dude, he looks nothing like Superman. He doesn't, like, he keeps the gray beard thing going. His ears are a little wacky, kind of looks like an elf. Hairline a little too wide and far back. Like face structure isn't the shape of a Superman, but his acting came through. Like the charisma, the smile, the way he portrayed Clark, I was like, oh shoot, this is Superman. So it's like, okay, David Cornsweet looks more like Superman than he does, so I'll give him a shot. And I should have shot myself, because damn, what the freak, man. I should have put it like, dude, oh my gosh. Why does anybody like this movie? Why? Are you just that stupid? Does your brain not work? It just turns off? Like, come on, man. Like, I can still be friends with you, but damn, we're going to have some conversations about your IQ levels, man. Because it's probably room temperature. No, that's okay. Like, I've been friends with retards before. It's fine. It's just I didn't think it would be this retarded. Like, I thought the dumbest we would ever get Superman being would be Man of Steel. And maybe Brandon Routh's Superman. But mainly Man of Steel, because that was stupid. So many dumb things. And I'm just tired of things being dumb. It's like there's no care. Like we fans, we don't hate things just to hate on it. Just because it isn't our perfect version of the comics that we read. It doesn't have, like, you can have a good story and take from multiple comics and make your own story. And it's your own cinematic universe. That is possible. We're not saying you can't do that. But you actively go and disrespect everything that came before. Even the crappier comics. I'm not saying you should adapt those. But even that you can't even respect. Again, you are taking elements of a character and just putting your brand on it. You're not caring about the source material. You're not going back, reading, adapting, trying to figure out how this is going to work. Like, what's the problem here? We've been giving you every freaking chance there is. And you guys are still freaking thinking you're better than everybody and making slop. And then you wonder why you lost your job. Because, people didn't show up. Yeah, of course. Who's going to show up to freaking people, like, taking a dump on the thing we love, man? Why would we show up to that? Like, here's the thing. The internet, it's a real thing. Piracy is going to happen. You can't prevent that. It's not, like, but guess what? when you respect something, people will spend the money, even though they know they could go home and get it for free through mischievous ways. Like, if we feel like you're robbing our entertainment from us, our chance for escapism, then we're gonna rob you, man. Like, or we're gonna find a way to not enjoy but see what you want us to see without you seeing a dime. We're gonna sell the high seas. And we don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. It's a hassle and a risk. But if you put out something great, with respect, with care, everybody will go watch the damn thing. Like, it's not a hard formula. It's so simple. Respect. It's look. You want to adapt Superman? You want to adapt Batman? Fine. Just if it crashes and burns without you guys doing your due diligence, don't come crying to us, the fans. I don't know why it didn't make money. It's the culture. No, dude. Look, No Way Home made a ton of money. When the MCU was dead and the height of COVID, that they blamed every film in existence that didn't do well, it's because of COVID. And then No Way Home comes out and blows every movie out of the water and proves that you can still make billion-dollar movies in the theaters if you freaking care. It's not rocket science, man. Like, I don't know if your board of directors are retarded, where they can't really see the writing on the wall, and they're like, oh, we're not making as much money in the box office. Okay, well, did you look at the details? Why did the Spider-Man movie make so much money when the Eternals couldn't make anything? Oh, well, maybe it's because we made everything stupid, lame, and gay. Oh, then maybe we should stop doing that. How about we ask the fans what they want? How about we read the comics, the things that came before? How about we look at the comic book sales and see which ones made the most money and use that as the beginning basis? Why did this issue number 1 do better than this issue number 1? What do people consider the main Spider-Man storyline? Spectacular Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Ultimate Spider-Man. It's in between amazing and spectacular. Oh, there are comic book fans that have spent maybe all of their life savings on one character, and they're doing YouTube. What? Maybe I should talk to them. Oh my gosh. Holy crap, this guy has a bigger following than our official following. Maybe we should listen to him. Wow. Like, dude, you want money and you own the thing, we'll give it to you, dude. I don't know how many times I have to say that. There's no deep answer or formula for these studios to recognize. I think they know what they have and they know how to make it successful. They know exactly what they need to do, but it's their pride. They don't want to admit that they can't, that they screwed up. They don't want to apologize for the past. They don't want to fix the issues. They just want the accolades, the money, and to, be perceived as some king that can do no wrong. Like, it is sheer freaking hubris, man. Like, it is insane. It's like, we don't expect you to be perfect. If you make a mistake and you apologize for the mistake, we are pretty humans are pretty forgiving when it comes down to it. Like, what was it? Was it Schumacher? Um, one of the Batman directors after Tim Burton apologized. Like, yeah, I had an idea. I obviously didn't execute what was really in my head, and I took a risk, and I failed the fans, and I'm sorry. And people were like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. You're good, man. You know, Sonic, the guy apologized and redirected, and we supported his movie. Where we got two more out of it, and we're probably going to get another trilogy. Mike, dude, fans are more forgiving than you think. Yeah, when something is bad, we are going to strip it down to its cells, not just its bones, to its like essence of being, man, because we love it. We love it more than you, obviously. Like it's our own kid, dude. We're not gonna like just take it down line, man. We're going to freaking come at you with everything we got, all of our artillery. Weaponize the autism, as those who say, those wise ones who say. So, but if you do come in and you're like, hey, my bad, and I'm gonna do better, and obviously you guys don't like this comic and this direction, I have an idea, and obviously I failed at this time, but please stick with me. I'm going to do right by you guys. I'm gonna do my best, dude. Congratulations, you won us. Why do you think, as garbage as Zack Snyder's universe is, why do you think it's so popular? Because overall, it's assumed that he's a nice guy. Some fans saw it with the whole charity stream with Uche Waneri. Saw his true colors, that he's just another woke shill, douchebag, gay, freaking cuck. But in terms of the Hollywood world and the regular normies of the Snyder cult, they're like diehards because he's been nothing but courteous unless you dig deep. He's been nothing but kind, and he's like, I really want to do my universe. I really care about these characters. He's not fighting the fans. He's not calling James Gunn fans retards like James Gunn did. He's just like, hey, I want to make a great Superman film. He's just saying that. Whether we believe him that he's going to make one or not is irrelevant. Like, he's being, and we could tell that he's being honest. He does want to make a good film. It's just that he doesn't have the ability to. He needs somebody holding him back from not making 4-hour snooze fest garbage Viking wailing death show. Like he needs to be tamed, obviously, but he does want to make something good. And we still gave him the opportunity to after Batman vs Superman. We saw that dumpster fire. We saw the Man of Steel dumpster fire. We saw the Wonder Woman dumpster fire. And not because they didn't do well financially, but storyline and acting wise, like Gal Gadot, she's a terrible actress. What the freak? She has a great smile and charisma, but dude, no boobas and no acting? That's crazy. That's crazy to put as Wonder Woman. That's insane. Yeah, give me a second, ladies. I will be back. I am back. I also I was reminded of a point. Sorry, like I have to keep going back and forth because the kiddos are sick and everything, so I have to take care of that. And also, I get thirsty. I got juice. Give me a second. Love apple juice. Okay. So, I was thinking. Also, one of the things like before, actors used to really care. Like, we got proper nerds as an actor for a superhero, right? And not only would they study, but they cared about their physique. Like one of the examples of like a conversion to a nerd would be Hugh Jackman. Like when he auditioned to be Wolverine, which also, by the way, guys, I would say it's credit to Hugh Jackman for Wolverine being a A-list character, because in the X-Men, if you are an actual fan of the comics, the X-Men comics wasn't centered around Wolverine. It was more centered around Magneto and Professor Xavier. At least like the main plots and stuff of like why things are happening, and also highlighting the fact that the U.S. government in all comics is always the biggest villain. Yeah. Anyways, he was just a regular character among comic team up, right? But Hugh Jackman actually went and started studying the comics. He started bulking up, working out, and trying to do right by the character and the fans. And now we get people that like they just want a gig that's secure. Like if they're part of the MCU, it's to heighten their careers so that they can negotiate for more money. They're using characters like a TV show, where like if you got a role in a TV show and you did well and you kept your big fat mouth shut and not like ruin your image, you had a job for a long time. And you can make a lot of money. And now it's like if your character's famous after one movie and it's in the MCU, oh, okay, now you can renegotiate for like triple for the next film because your character's so beloved, and that kind of stuff. And it's also like little backtrack here. It's one of the reasons why it doesn't make sense for Robert Downey Jr. to be Doom, because obviously he has all the leverage in the world of negotiating his contract for a big lump sum. You don't think he's getting paid much more than he is in any of the Iron Man roles. I guarantee you he is. So you could have gotten an unknown actor that is a really good actor that could portray Dr. Doom better than Robert Downey Jr. and you casted Robert Downey Jr. It's obvious like why you did that. Okay? So you do that. And then you freaking, good Lord, where was I getting at? I'm losing my train of thought here. What was I talking about before? Oh, the care from actors. So now, like, actors, they don't want to be seen as like, oh, if I play Superman, I'm going to be known as Superman forever. If I play Batman, I'm going to be known as Batman forever. Like, I'm not going to be known as any of the other characters. Like, dude, if you're a good if you're a garbage actor, yeah, that's all you're going to be known for. If you're a good actor, you're going to be known for many other things. Christian Bale you see Christian Bale and you're like, that's Christian Bale. But he's such a good actor that everything he's in, he is that character. You don't think of him as Christian Bale as you're watching him act. Like Brandon Fraser, he was sold on that lie. Like, oh, if you play Superman, that's all you're going to be known for. Like, no, we're going to remember The Mummy. That was iconic. We're going to remember your other movies. Like, you're that level of actor that we see you, like, I'm not going to see George of the Jungle as Superman. I'm not going to see, I forget the character's name, but I need to go watch The Mummy again. It's such a good film, but I'm going to see him as that character. I'm not going to see him as Superman, I actually never understood that. And also, no actor is above their role. So like somebody else can play Iron Man. I don't buy into that because that's a Robert Downey Jr. version of Iron Man. Like there are books version of Iron Man that are different. Now, do I want to? Like maybe not. But if the story is phenomenal and it's based off like a really good comic, and we get the actual Mandarin as one of his enemies, I would freaking love to see that. Like, regardless if it's Robert Downey Jr. or not. You know? So, there was the aspect of respect, but then also, when you had the role, like Robert Downey Jr. kept progressing, even until now, like his physique on Logan or Wolverine and Deadpool was probably the best ever. And he's much older. But then, like, look at Tom Holland. He's gotten skinnier. And if he wants to be taken as a serious actor, because he was a good actor, until he started doing like a bunch of gay stuff. Like he doesn't exercise. He is now like the superhero noodle arms. Like we went through that phase once, and it started happening. I think right after Daredevil, when we saw Iron Fist. For me, I recognized it through the TV shows. And then I started seeing Chris Evans like get less and less bulked. Like in Captain America, he's huge, and then by the time of Age of Ultron, you see him much skinnier. And by the time Endgame, he just kind of looks like old skinny, old fit. He doesn't look big, and then he kind of bulked up a little higher now because he's coming back. But I think he could still grow even back to Captain America. He's not that old, you know. Back to the first Avenger, Captain America. But they don't care. So, like, you saw Tom Holland in that little sneak preview, him coming off on set in his new Spider-Man outfit. Zero muscle. Like, Andrew Garfield, he had the problem where he was really tall. And so, but it was like, oh, he looks like that eccentric comic booky Spider-Man. But Tobey Maguire, he looked yoked throughout 3 films. Like, he was a little chubbier in the 3rd film, but he still had like some size on him. And I think if Tom Holland wanted to be taken seriously and not look 15 for the rest of his life, the best way to do that is put on some freaking muscle, dude. Imagine he put on like 35 to 50 pounds of muscle in the course of like 5-6 years. Like, he'd be freaking, you look at him like, oh, that's a man now. Like, it's like if Zendaya put on some meat and then got a boob job, and you're like, okay, that's no longer a freaking 12-year-old. Like, that's a woman. Like, unfortunately, there's going to be things that's going to make you more feminine or more masculine. And for women, if you're like super skinny and petite with the face of like Zendaya, you always look like a child. But if you mature a little bit more, you know, put some meat on your bones and get a little curvier, like, you're going to actually be able to portray a woman. Like, the only time I took Zendaya seriously, and that didn't seem like a teenager, but still to me it was like, oh, that's an 18-year-old, was in The Greatest Showman. That's the only time where I'm like, oh, okay. Every other time I was like, yeah, she looks like she's, at most, she's, the oldest she ever looked on screen was like 16. And it's because she looked high or something. But everything else, like, I'm like, oh, this is like a slutty 12-year-old. And it's disgusting. That's weird. Yeah. So, Tom Holland, I think, if he really does want to be taken seriously, he's got to pack on some beef, dude. He's got to put on that muscle. And if you're going to play a superhero, I don't care. Like, I'm sick of ugly people in cinema. It has its place. But as a superhero, F you, man. You got to be good looking. Can you imagine, like, Dave Buscemi as Superman? You want to see that guy with his shirt off? I like him. But come on. That's not who you want to see. Like, there's certain roles that, like, ugly works. But as the main hero, man, I don't want to see some fat chick being Carol Danvers. As much as I do hate Brie Larson and how they ruin its original character. you know. And the original character was a dude, Captain Marvel. And Miss Marvel. Now she was fine. Not Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel, dude. With the one piece. Oh, brother. You never seen real Miss Marvel. You know, you didn't have a great teenage years. She's phenomenal. Just full all woman, man. But gosh. Ay. I don't think there's much hope for actors in the movies and just superhero movies in general. They're focused too much on building a universe instead of building up a character for one movie and understanding the progression of where that character can lead to into a team up. They're just worried about getting to the team up, especially DC. And unfortunately, Marvel is taking a page out of the DC playbook, and instead of realizing that they got all these new characters with no foundation, they're going to just do team up. It's like, okay, you got to lay down a foundation. Like, you can't keep using the same foundation. Like, it's going to be connected because it's the MCU. But, like, DC, like, their first movie had a team in it. That was insane. Like, did Iron Man have a team in it? No. Did Hulk? Did Thor? Did Iron Man 2? Did Captain America? Freak no. And then you got the team. Like, what? This is not crazy, dude. It's so simple. So freaking simple. Oh. I know, like, some movies are not gonna do well. Like, you're gonna screw up, and especially this day and age where nobody wants to go to the movie theater, that you're gonna have to spend so much money on marketing, and you have to gain trust back, which I get. It's not gonna be overnight. You're gonna have to put out a few movies that are actual bangers, but they're not gonna bang because you guys effed up. Because that's the element that is not talked about very much, is the trust factor. Like, sometimes a movie's not gonna do well in the box office because they don't have the loyalty and the trust from the fans, because they've kept, promising them one thing and delivering something else. So, and I'm not saying that's the case with Superman. It was garbage. It did flop. But let's say the Supergirl movie is just sublime. There's so many things going against it. The first Superman movie, the new acquisition of Warner Brothers for Netflix or Paramount. The fact that a week after its release, or around the same, in a matter of weeks, we're going to get Toy Story 5 and then some other really popular film. That's going to blow that movie out of the water. Because, and the fact that it's a little more mature than it's supposed to be. Like, even the trailer. You've already alienated the core fans that are supposed to go watch this. It's families. Like, anything with the Superman symbol, it should be attractive to kids and parents. And I would say, like, I don't want to teach my kids through Superman that a hero flipping a villain off is okay. Like, that's something a villain would do. They should. It doesn't matter what your principles are. Like, oh, I think cursing is okay. Okay, well, for a kid, it's never okay. Even if you teach that, that's you to teach. But for you to teach, not for the movie to teach. Like, I want them to inspire, like, the heroes to inspire them. I want them to aspire to be these heroes. And then when I see Green Lantern doing like 2 to 3 flipping off tanks and a foreign military, it's like, all right, like, he's gonna think that's okay because somebody's bad? No. Especially in a Superman movie where it's like, hey, they might be bad, but you shouldn't kill them. You should bring them to justice. You should still have hope for the good that's out there. Like, I'll give this one thing, and it's still dumb how it all happened. It's still retarded, but of how they portrayed it. But, Clark still has hope or Superman has hope, because there is no Clark in the James Gunn film. Superman still has hope that Lex will someday see him for who he is and repent of his sins, essentially. So I'll give him that like, okay, that's how Superman is supposed to somewhat behave. But in the comics, in terms of Lex, it's his like number one challenge. It's like he truly believes Lex can't change. He gives everybody else the benefit of the doubt, but he doesn't believe Lex ever will become good or be good or has good. So that's where there's a fumble as well, in terms of lore. But damn, like I'm never gonna let my kids watch this movie. It's not. I don't think it's a movie appropriate for kids. Like, I think the way Lois kisses Superman and when they're in the apartment was a little too like risque for a kid that's not I'm talking about a kid under 10 to see. Like, even when kisses, like when my kids are watching something with me and there's a kiss that's a little too long, I'm like, oh, like, let me make a joke and play around so that they don't see the screen and like skip that, and then you got some pretty heavy cursing, like they used every curse word other than the ones that land you an R rating. And then you got somewhat of an intimate kiss, and then you got, hateful gestures from heroes. And it's just like, this isn't, let alone is this not a Superman film, but it's not appropriate for kids. Like, at least for my kids, who is like, my oldest is a 5-year-old, and he loves Superman. Like, there's a cartoon where one of the, like, Superboy or Damian Wayne, they curse, and I can't show him that film based off that one scene, because it's like, there is a line of villain and heroes. When you portray a hero, even if it's supposed to be more realistic, you still want them to be a little more heroic. Like, you want them to have an elevated standard than the rest. Like, yeah, if I'm reading a heavy comic, that's going to be different. If I'm reading Punisher, that's going to be different. Like, I need to know, you need to know where that line is. But if I'm reading freaking Superman and Superman's involved in the story, yeah, I don't want to see that from the heroes, especially kids. Like, yeah, I get that Damian Wayne was kind of written that way, but he's already with Batman, and it's different. And also, shouldn't be cursing because he was raised practically among a cult of monks / ninjas / evil wizard type people, and he speaks very proper, and his dad's a billionaire and Batman, so he's not gonna be cursing. Yeah, there's like, you're kind of seeing the fall of the animated stuff too, and I just think nobody's really talking about that, and we should point that out, that even the animated stuff are getting a little more corrupt. But that's all I got for today, ladies. Glad you guys stayed with me, and I'm out. Maybe I'll play some Fallout. I don't know yet. It's getting a little late, but we'll see. Peace out.